61-degree water temperature here at the ramp. Going to be probably using some of these new Lee's custom crankbaits too today, along with the Sunline and the Lew's reels and rods. Really beautiful crankbaits, and of course you really can't find a better line than that Sunline, or a better reel than Lew's. So fantastic workmanship on the new Lew's reels and rods. So tell them where we're going to run to now, Mike, and why.
Well, what we're going to do now is head back into Broad Creek, and it's a pretty good sized creek that runs off the Conowingo Reservoir here, and it has a fair amount of water in it. You know, it has some deep holes, and a lot of those holes concentrate some of the fish. So we're going to go back in there. We're going to use our electronics and, you know, take a look at some things and see if we can't produce a few fish back there.
Now out here we found smallmouth and largemouth, but they're in balls of bait fish that just fill the graph. You cannot detect structure whatsoever. I mean, it just fills it from top to bottom, side to side, and they're busting on them, but I think that because they have that many bait fish there, they don't need to chase a single bait. So you've got to have your bait right in front of them as they're busting, because they just gorge and then, you know, lay back down again.
You would think, I mean, you were throwing a popper, I was throwing a spook, a small jerk bait, and, you know, the fact that we just weren't getting hammered, you know, all the time, just in from looking at the graph, like you said, there's just so much bait fish there that it was almost too much.
Yeah, almost too much, really. As you can see, even from the graph there, look, you can see the fish arches actually on the graph.
This is nothing to what.
No, you can actually distinguish things there. You couldn't see anything. It was just the whole graph, top to bottom, was just bait fish. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them. All about 2 to 3 inches long. They're silver. I'm supposing they're shad.
One of the things I've also found is that you really got to play with the adjustments in order to get it to dial in the image. Like if you go into spotlight scan and you turn it on and you just bring it up as a default, mine randomly defaults to different feet. It never comes up at the same foot. It goes 60, sometimes it's 80, sometimes it's 100. It's all over the place. Now, what I typically try to do is I try to set it up, say if I'm in 10 feet of water, I try to go 30 foot. I'll make the range 3 times what the depth is. So if I'm in 20 foot, it would be 60 foot range. And then you can go in and select the frequency. And when I was next to Mike's boat, we were side by side. He was running his, I was running mine. We were having frequency problems being next to each other. When I switched to 800, or I turned mine off, his image got better. And then when I got away from him altogether, he came out around the point, I went in the cove, my image was crystal clear, I could see absolutely everything. I had no issues whatsoever with it. And as soon as I got back by his boat, my whole image became a white smear again.
Let's see, what I'm having, if I go to 800,
Yep.
I can barely see anything.
Okay, yeah, it's darker. Is that what the deal is?
Yeah, it's just so dark, like I can barely get any. So I'm having to go to 455.
We'll switch back to 800 and turn your contrast to the default settings or a little higher, because contrast is what provides light.
All right, I'm on auto, so.
And now granted, we're sitting next to each other and we might start interfering with each other at some point, but right now, when I turn mine to 800 and then I jack up the contrast a little bit, those rocks are very apparent white. I'll get out away from you a little bit and come out from shore just a hair and move out so you're like 20 feet off the shore, and you'll see. I mean, right now, if you use your spotlight scan, look down, there's so many fish below. It's ridiculous right now.
Yeah, I'm using down scan. It's like crazy.
It's unbelievable. Look at that. I don't need to go anywhere else with this. Go right here. I mean, I'll look at my down scan, but I can actually share back to my side scan transducer, and since I'm networked, I can see the side scan on my bow.
Right.
You know, once I turn that on, or not, I can choose.
Yeah,
not.
which, you know, is, I'm really starting to appreciate the ability to do that.
Yeah.
So I finally got it dialed in to where, you know, they're not jumping all over the place.
Yep.
You know, from one unit's reading the wrong.
We came up here and they're really pushing a lot of current right now. They've got, this water is really going faster than it does at the Susquehanna. There's a tremendous amount. We have a 36 volt Minn Kota Fortrex on there with 110, 112 pounds of,
It ain't much, but
no. But what type of bait was that he hit?
that was a Kitech Crazy Flapper.
With what type of a weight?
Oh, with a 3/8 ounce weight.
And you're using the Sunline, of course, and
Yep.
the Lew's.
Sunline, and using the brand new Lew's, and it's a their 6:8 to 1 ratio.
Nice. So let's see if we can find some more.
Not bad. One I had this morning that got off was bigger than that. Wouldn't mind having some more smallmouth like that though. Hitting a little rattle trap. Hitting that, I'm using Sunline braid on that. I like to use the braid on the rattle traps and the buzz baits. I just rip it through the grass and the leaves when it gets caught. They're coming up and slamming it. They're hitting it really hard too. They're getting aggressive right now. Hopefully we can catch some more that are a little bit bigger.